Hello everyone, my name is Jules and thank you so much. I just clapped. Hello everyone, my name is Jules and thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. Today I am doing a book unhaul, which I thought was a fun way for me to get back from my hiatus. I've been having a lot of technical difficulties with my computer, with my editing, mostly with my memory, so I've been trying to find ways to work around what I have without having to buy like equipment really. So I think I've figured it out for now, so if you guys see this out on YouTube, that means I've figured it out for now. Yeah, like I said, this is an unhaul. I've been loving watching unhauls recently. I've been obsessed and I really wanted to do one, but a lot of the bookstores in my area were closed, used bookstores I should say, and I don't think they were taking any submissions. So, and usually the way I do book returns, I guess, is I usually just take it to the one or two bookstores that I frequent and do some sort of exchange. That's usually the agreement. I know some places I think give you money. I'm sure these places could give me money too, but they have such a good, they turn over quite quickly, and I always usually find things that I was going to buy anyways, so works for me. So bookstores have started opening again. So I am going to do my unhaul. This bookshelf is probably not going to be that exciting because this is like my newer stuff. I don't know if I'm going to be unhauling much. And also, a lot of this is also my roommate's books. Yeah, because my roommate and I, we share the shelf. And if you guys know anything about Toronto condos, I'm sorry that you do, because Toronto condos are notoriously like little matchboxes, and this is the only room we have, so I'm trying to make the best of it. And I'm just tired of feeling guilty also. Like, sometimes I see these books that I've picked up and I'm like, I don't want to read you anymore, but I feel guilty having you on my shelf taking up space and staring at me. So yeah, I'm tired of it, and I'm gonna do some spring cleansing for my soul. So let me just orient you a little to my shelf. A lot of this stuff over here is my roommate's. This big stack over here is our red pile, and then I kind of have two shelves. I feel like I have many more books here than my roommate does. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna start because I see it. Let me just take this off so it's not as precarious. I already know that I am returning this book. This is less returning. I am planning on unhauling this book. This is Less by Andrew Sean Greer. I won a Pulitzer in 2018, and that's kind of why I was drawn in. I just wanted kind of an easy read, and I was kind of sucked into this kind of, I don't know, sometimes late night shopping. I for some reason like this cover, and I wanted something lighthearted, and this seemed like it could be a good pick. But I did not even read this book, unfortunately. My roommate read this book before me, and she didn't like it a lot. Just because someone else doesn't like a book doesn't mean, obviously, that you shouldn't like this book. But we have very similar reading tastes, I would say. She told me about it, and it seemed to be a lot of things that I wouldn't care for. It kind of sounds like a white man's Eat, Pray, Love. And I read a bunch of reviews afterwards as well, and the people who didn't like it kind of were giving it the same kind of feedback as my roommate. So yeah, I don't care. This is about an author who's in his 50s, and he travels the world. And I'm sorry, like, obviously no offense to anybody, if I'm unhauling these books, I want them to find better homes with people who actually like these books. So it doesn't sound like a book I'm interested in anymore. And yeah, also, like, I didn't know when I bought this book that I did not care about Anne Patchett. I'm sorry for everyone who likes Anne Patchett. I just read one of her books recently, The Dutch House, and I really didn't care for it. So, and this one says, Anne Patchett says, I recommend it with my whole heart. So I don't think this is gonna be for me. Yeah, so that's easy. There's gonna be a lot of noises in this video. is White Oleander by Janet Fitch. Yeah, Fitch. And this was also a used book, I believe. Yeah, I got it at the used bookstore. I read it. It was okay. I didn't hate it. I just don't really care to take up this much room on my shelf. And I read it once. I have no interest in really reading it again. But if you don't know what it's about, it follows, what's her name? Astrid, whose mother commits a crime when she's a very young girl, and she has a very toxic relationship with her mother, I would say. That was the most interesting part to me about this book. And it kind of follows to her mom goes to prison, and she is kind of in and out of foster care. I think this paints like the horrors of foster care, or the foster care system, pretty clearly, which I also enjoyed. But it's not anything that I really want to keep. I feel like I read it and that's kind of enough for me, so it's not really anything I would want to reference back to. I think those are the times I want to unhaul books. If either I don't think I'll like them anymore, like I'm just no longer interested, but also if I've read them and they don't stand out and they're not, like there's nothing interesting, like maybe if this had a few lines or it had a certain writing style that I would like to refer back to, that's usually when I would keep a book. Otherwise, I think I'm in the practice so far of just unhauling, especially given my limited space. So, White Oleander by Janet Fitch is gone. I think I'm good, actually. Imagine Me Gone, if you watched my... This was a book I also gave a 3-star to, but there's something about this book that I may want to come back to. I think maybe because I was still very unsure about how I felt about this book, I kind of want to hang on to it because I do think it has some very interesting choices. But yeah, if you don't know what this book is about, we are following a family who is dealing with kind of the ripple effects of the father in the family committing suicide. So there's a lot of trigger warnings here for mental illness, suicidal ideation, and things like that. But I'm gonna hang on to this. It's like a maybe for now. This is funny. I think I left this book, I don't know where it is right now, but I have the dust jacket here because I was reading it. This is The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. I really don't know how I feel about this book either. I would put it in the maybe unhauling. I hate unhauling like very new books because sometimes I want them to sit on my shelf and like, I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind. And this book was something that I definitely, once I finished it, it really fell flat for me. But it did have some very interesting choices and there was moments that I liked. But I don't know if I would really recommend it to anybody. I'm gonna put it on the maybe pile and we'll think about it. But I think this will eventually end up in an unhaul. I just don't know if it will be this one. Here we go. A lot of these are from our roommates, but this is mine. This is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrikios. And I remember when I picked this up, I picked this up in high school. And for reference, I'm like done graduate school now. So it's been a long time, and I recently have gotten much more into YA again. But I think I like Patrikios. I do have another book, I think it's at my parents' house, that's about the afterlife. I forget what it's called though, like insert a picture over here. But that one I think I'm still interested in. This one, the Chaos Walking trilogy, I just think it's not for me anymore. It's not really the kind of things that I like to read. I did try like reading a chapter or two recently, like within the last year, and that's why I brought it here. And yeah, I've never wanted to pick it up again. So I think that says a lot, but I've heard amazing things about this trilogy. So if you're into, I think this is kind of a dystopian fantasy series, and the idea in this world is that there has been some sort of disease or something along those lines that causes people to hear everyone's thoughts. And yeah, it's kind of like, seems like a coming of age adventure story. But yeah, just not for me, I think. So I think someone else will really enjoy this. Sorry, my camera ran out of battery. But The next book is Whiskey Tango Foxtrot by David Schaefer. And this is like one of those instances where I'm at the mall, I go to Indigo to browse. They have this horrible section that's like everything's for $6. If you buy 3 books, it's like $10. Like whatever their sales are with these like kind of stickers. This is how this book got me. And I know they made a movie, and I never cared to watch the movie, so I don't know why I thought I would care to read this book. I think it just surprised me. I didn't realize it was kind of almost a dystopian kind of sci-fi book. And I might sound really stupid because I actually don't know if that's what it's about, but I remember thinking, oh, that's not what I thought this was about. But anyways, someone else will enjoy this. It's in good condition. I've never opened it, and it's been sitting there for maybe like 5 years. So I think we're okay. Another book that I don't think this may be a maybe, but it's been sitting here for at least 5 years, like I said. So if it's a maybe still, I feel like it doesn't deserve to be here. Sorry, I'm like taking time to like read it now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give this away. I think someone else will like it. This is Michael Ondaatje's Coming Through Slaughter, and I don't know why it didn't hit me that I don't think I like Michael Ondaatje's writing. I know we read him for high school, and I remember I was one of those people who really liked school books and school novels. So my English teacher at the time picked like very interesting books for us to read, very modern books too. So I really didn't mind reading for English, but I remember hating Michael Ondaatje's writing. Not writing, but his book. I just really didn't care about it. I think I picked this up because of the cover. I wanted to give him another shot. This is about New Orleans, and it's described as like a sensual, erotic world, but I haven't picked it up, and I don't know why I would pick it up now. So I think someone else will like this. I know there are a lot of Michael Ondaatje fans, and I don't think I'm one of them. Maybe one day, but I think this book has done its time with me. Another book, I'm so sad to let this go. I still kind of want to hang on to this, but this is probably a book that has been on my shelf for over 7 years, maybe, and I've picked it up twice and not finished it or gotten through the first like 50 pages. But I love the premise, which is why I've been hanging on to it. But I don't know. I feel like I've tried it again recently and it didn't work out. It just ended up falling to the bottom of my pile, and then my audiobook ran out, and then I had no interest really in going forward. But this is Jasper Ford's Shades of Grey, and it's such a wonderful idea. I bought this when I loved dystopian novels. The premise is that this dystopian world, the ranks are determined by what colors you can see. So those people who are higher ranks see more colors, and then those at the lowest rank only sees black, white, gray. So that's why it's called Shades of Grey. They wear like these contraptions, and I think this is much more a problem of, it's even floppy. I love floppy books. But I think this is more of the issue with the actual writing. I don't think I care for Jasper Ford's writing, and the margins on this, it's not a good example, the font is so small, the margins are so thick, and I think there was like a lot of info jumping. I think I've read like the first 50 pages twice now. I love the premise. So I think this is gonna be a maybe still, but like maybe third time's a charm. I just can't give up on this concept. I really like it, but we'll see. So this is a maybe. I'm gonna put him back. Oh my goodness. I thought I lost Frankenstein, but I just found it. It was just fallen to the back of my bookshelf. That's exciting. Okay, I think that's it for this shelf. So I have this pile, which is honestly more than I thought I was going to give away, because it's not a very big shelf and a lot of this stuff is newer stuff. Well, I say that and I say some of these books are at least like, these books are like definitely like 5 years or over. These books I would say have been within the last 2 or 3 years. So definitely not new books. Actually, this one's new. I'm lying to you guys. This one I bought during Christmas. That's 5 books down on the shelf, and honestly, looking at it, I feel better. Yeah, so I definitely think I have some room now, and you know why room is good? I forgot one. I was saying, I forgot one. I just saw it on my shelf, on my table. It's been sitting there for months now. This is A Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne, another kind of crappy indigo copy. But I am still very, very interested in Jules Verne. I think he's an author that I could actually really like. I think it's more about what the book looks like. The way it's translated, because I don't think you guys are getting how dense this is, and I hate the way the chapters are laid out. And I just don't think it's a very good translation. I want to find a different translator. I think this is translated by... This is a modernization of Rev F.A. Malison's 1876 translation. I just don't think I care for it. I've heard other passages from Journey to the Center of the Earth, and I really liked the writing in that much better. So I think I'm just going to look for a different translation of Jules Verne. So I'll have to do some research. But another book to add to my pile. And how toxic, I guess, is it that I am going to do a little haul in the middle of my unhaul. But like I said, bookstores opened and I wanted to see what was up, and I'm absolutely obsessed with horror right now. I found like the horror lit subreddit and I'm on it all the time, every day. And I'm discovering so many things about like different niches, so I'm going to find out what kind of horror reader I am. So I think I'm gonna make a series about what horror things I have on my reading list. I've already started to read this one, but this is Duma Key by Stephen King, and it's a mass market copy, but it's a floppy mass market copy. I think this is like my ideal book, basically. I love the floppiness. I love that it is like the size of your hand. I don't even mind that it's chunky. The font is big enough. The margins are good. I normally don't like mass markets because, especially if they're like the stiff mass markets, but I love this. And I love this book. So far, I'm like a quarter of the way in. So Stephen King's Duma Key. I picked up The Perfect Nanny by Leila Slimani. I hope that's how you say her name. I believe this is translated from the French. Am I crazy? Yes, okay. Oh my goodness. Yes, it's translated from French by Sam Taylor. So I picked this up. I think that's supposed to be a thriller. Then I picked up Joyland by Stephen King, and I love this cover so very much. And it's another short Stephen King. It takes place in, it seems like, a circus. So I'm excited. I think that one is like a little bit paranormal. And I picked up this big boy, Drood by Dan Simmons. And I've heard, since I've discovered this subreddit, I've heard a lot about Dan Simmons, especially he's very famous for The Terror, which I am interested in picking up as well. But this was the one that they had from him, and I just really want to see his writing because I think I would really like it based on the way people describe him. But this is a take on Charles Dickens and Charles Dickens' life. And it's from the perspective of Wilkie Collins, who is Dickens's friend. So I think it's like almost like a little bit of a historical fiction. But yeah, it sounds a little creepy, a little bit more atmospheric. Yeah, it's described as chilling and haunting. So that's kind of the vibe that I got from this. But I was very impatient to try Dan Simmons' writing. So yeah, I think that works out. So yeah, that's it for my unhaul. I'm unhauling these 5 books. And I am hauling these 4 books. So I am at a net of one lost book. So I'm happy with that. Thank you so much for sticking around for my unhauling. I love watching these videos, so I hope you guys enjoyed it a little bit as well. And I really would like to know what your philosophy is behind unhauling. I think it's so interesting how different people kind of view their books and their possession of books. Some people don't want to buy books at all. Some people want to only borrow from the library. People like my roommate, her philosophy is kind of, if I've read a book, I'll keep it no matter like what, like even if I hated that book, I just want to remember that I had it. And it makes sense. I'm not here to judge or say anyone is wrong. I just think it's like a very interesting conversation to have, and I love listening to other people's perspectives on this topic. So comment down below, what do you think about unhauling? Do you do it? Do you hate it? Let's chat. But yeah, I hope wherever you guys are in the world that you're happy and healthy and just having a wonderful day. It's getting sunnier and sunnier here in Toronto, so my mood is getting better and better. So yeah, see you guys later. See you guys next week.